The stars looked different now. Captain Minho Kim stood on the bridge of the TCN Indomitable and stared at the view screen. For 300 years, humans had traveled through space. They had built colonies on 17 different star systems. They had searched for other living beings among the stars. They had found nothing. Empty planets. Dead cities from ancient times. But no aliens. No other life. Humanity was alone in the galaxy. Or so they thought. That changed 3 days ago. A massive fleet appeared at the edge of human space. Hundreds of ships, maybe thousands. They were bigger than anything humans had ever built. Their weapons looked powerful. Their technology seemed far ahead of human science. Minho felt his stomach tighten. He had been a captain for 12 years. He had fought pirates. He had rescued colonists from dying ships, but he had never faced anything like this. "Sir, they're sending another message," said the communications officer. Her hand shook as she touched the controls. "Put it on screen," Minho said. His voice stayed calm. A captain had to stay calm. The alien appeared. It was tall, with gray skin and 4 arms. Its eyes glowed with a cold blue light. When it spoke, a machine translated the words into human language. "We are the hegemony. We rule this sector of space. You will submit to our authority. You have 30 days to accept our terms. If you refuse, we will destroy you," the message ended. The view screen went dark. Nobody on the bridge spoke. They all knew what this meant. War, invasion, maybe the end of humanity. Minho turned to his crew. "Get me a channel to Earth Command now." 2,000 light-years away on Earth, Ambassador Ji-won Park sat in an emergency meeting. The room was full of important people, leaders from every human colony. Military commanders, scientists, politicians. Everyone looked worried. Ji-won was known for staying calm in bad situations. She had negotiated peace between warring colonies. She had solved disputes that seemed impossible. But this was different. This was not a problem between humans. This was something much bigger. "We need to talk to them," Ji-won said. "We need to understand what they want." "What they want is obvious," Gun said General Soyeon Kwan. She was the head of all human military forces. "They want us to bow down, to become their slaves." "We don't know that yet," Ji-won replied. "Maybe we can find a peaceful solution." "There is no peaceful solution with conquerors," said Commander Tae-hyun Lee. He ran coalition intelligence. His job was to know secrets and find threats. "I've been studying the data. These aliens have conquered 43 different species. None of them survived as free peoples." The room fell silent. 43 species, all conquered, all enslaved or destroyed. Dr. Yuna Choi stood up. She was young but brilliant. She studied alien languages and biology. For years, she had studied the dead civilizations that humans found in space. Now she finally had living aliens to study. "I've been working on translating their language," Yuna said. "I found something interesting in their cultural database. They have a word that appears over and over. It translates roughly as the natural order. They believe strong species should rule weak ones. They think it's the way the universe works. So they think we're weak," General Kwan said. "They think everyone is weak compared to them," Yuna replied. "But there's more. In all their records, I couldn't find a single example of a species that refused to submit and survived. They either gave up or died. The meeting went on for hours. Some leaders wanted to fight. Others wanted to surrender. The colony worlds were split. The inner colonies, close to Earth, were afraid. They had families, cities, billions of people who would die in a war. The frontier colonies were different. They were far from Earth. They had fought pirates and survived harsh worlds. They didn't want to bow to anyone. "We need more time," Ji-won finally said. 30 days isn't enough to make this decision. I'll go talk to them. I'll buy us time to prepare." "That's dangerous," Tae-hyun warned. "We don't know if they'll let you come back." "It's a risk I have to take," Ji-won said. 2 days later, a human science ship called the Explorer approached the edge of the hegemony fleet. The ship's captain had orders to scan the alien vessels. Just basic information, nothing threatening. The aliens saw the scan. They didn't like it. 3 alien fighters broke from the fleet. They were fast. Much faster than human ships. "This is Explorer." "We mean no harm," the captain transmitted. "We're pulling back now." The aliens didn't respond. They just opened fire. The Explorer died in seconds. Its shields failed. Its hull broke apart. 47 scientists and crew members burned in space. There was nothing left but debris. The message was clear. The hegemony didn't want questions. They didn't want discussion. They wanted obedience. When the news reached Earth, people were shocked. Protests filled the streets. Some people demanded revenge. Others begged their leaders to surrender and save lives. Minho watched the reports from his ship. He felt anger burning inside him. 47 people, good people, scientists who just wanted to understand the universe. Now they were dead. Captain, his communications officer called out. We're receiving a strange signal. It's encrypted. Very sophisticated. Can you decode it? Minho asked. Already done. Sir, you need to see this. Minho walked over to her station. On the screen were 2 words in perfect Korean. They're listening. Where did this come from? Minho demanded. From inside the hegemony fleet, sir. Minho stared at the message. Someone in the alien fleet was trying to contact them. Someone who spoke Korean. Someone who knew humans were listening. But who and why? Meanwhile, Jiwon prepared for her journey to the alien flagship. She knew it might be a one-way trip. She knew the aliens might kill her or imprison her, but someone had to try. Minho contacted her before she left. Ambassador, I don't think this is a good idea. I know, Captain, she replied. But what choice do we have? We could fight and lose. Look at their fleet. We're outnumbered 100 to 1, maybe more. Minho wanted to argue, but he knew she was right. Be careful, Ambassador. I will. Jiwon's shuttle left the human fleet. It was small and unarmed. A white flag of peace flew from its transmitter. The shuttle crossed the empty space between the 2 fleets. The alien flagship was enormous. It looked like a floating city made of dark metal. Weapons covered its surface. Hundreds of fighters circled around it like angry insects. The shuttle docked. Jiwon stepped out into a corridor filled with strange lights and stranger sounds. Alien guards surrounded her. They were tall and heavily armed. Their eyes watched her with cold interest. They led her through the ship. She saw other aliens working at stations. Some looked like the gray-skinned beings from the message. Others were completely different. Different sizes, different colors, different shapes. That was when Jiwon realized something important. The hegemony wasn't just one species. It was many species working together. Or maybe not working together. Maybe some of them were forced to be here. Finally, she reached a great chamber. A massive alien sat on a throne-like chair. This was High Prefect Vormalik, the leader of the hegemony. He looked down at her like a human might look at an insect. So, he said through a translator, the humans send a talker. Do you come to accept our rule? I come to discuss terms, Jiwon said carefully. There are no terms. Only obedience or death. Jiwon felt her heart pound, but she kept her face calm. Then I request more time. 30 days is not enough for my people to make such an important decision. Vormalik laughed. It was not a pleasant sound. Very well. You may stay here as our guest while your people decide. That way we can discuss the natural order of things. Guest, prisoner. The words meant the same thing here. As guards led Jiwon away, she caught sight of something strange. One of the aliens working at a nearby station looked at her. Just for a second, and in that second she saw something in its eyes. Fear, sadness, hope. Maybe not everyone in the hegemony was happy to be here. Maybe some of them were prisoners too. Back on the Indomitable, Minho stared at the mysterious message. They're listening. What did it mean? Who sent it? And most importantly, could they be trusted? He made a decision. Send a response. Same encryption. Keep it simple. Just 2 words. Who are you? The message was sent into space, disappearing into the vast alien fleet. Minho waited. Hours passed. Nothing came back. Then, just before midnight on ship time, another message arrived. This one was longer. Not all of us are your enemies. Some of us wait for freedom. Be ready. Minho felt something stir inside him. Not quite hope, not yet. But maybe the beginning of hope. The war for humanity's future had begun. And the first battle would not be fought with weapons. It would be fought with words, trust, and the courage to stand against impossible odds. Ambassador Jiwon Park had been on the hegemony flagship for 7 days. Her room was comfortable, but she knew it was a prison. Guards stood outside her door at all times. She could walk in certain areas of the ship, but never alone. Always watched. High Prefect Vormalik called these meetings negotiations. But they were not real negotiations. Every day he told her the same thing. Humans must submit. Humans must give up their weapons. Humans must accept hegemony rule. Jiwan listened carefully. She asked questions. She took notes. But mainly she watched. She observed the other aliens on the ship. The way they moved. The way they looked at each other. The way some of them seemed afraid. One morning something different happened. A maintenance worker came to fix something in her room. He was small, with green skin and large eyes. He worked quietly, never looking at her. But as he left, he dropped something. A small data chip. It rolled across the floor and stopped at Jiwan's feet. The worker walked away without turning back. Jiwan picked up the chip. She hid it quickly. That night, when the lights dimmed, she put it into her personal tablet. Information flooded her screen. Records, history, truth. The hegemony was not what it seemed. It was not a partnership of species. It was a lie built on conquest and fear. One species, the overlords, ruled everyone else. They had conquered 43 different civilizations. They had enslaved billions of beings. The files showed something else. Resistance. Small groups across the empire who worked in secret. They sabotaged equipment. They shared information. They waited for a chance to be free. And they were watching humanity. Waiting to see what humans would do. Meanwhile, Captain Minho Kim was planning something dangerous. The mysterious messages kept coming. They provided intelligence about the hegemony fleet, weaknesses, supply routes, places where their defenses were thin, but Minho needed proof. He needed to see these weaknesses with his own eyes. So he organized a secret mission. A small team would use a stealth ship to slip past the hegemony fleet and investigate their supply lines. He chose pilot Sarah Han to lead the mission. She was the best pilot in the fleet. Fast, smart, brave. If anyone could pull off this impossible task, it was her. This is a volunteer mission, Minho told her. It's extremely dangerous. You might not come back. I understand, sir, Sarah replied. When do I leave? Tonight. And Sarah? Come back alive. I'll do my best, sir. On Earth, Dr. Yuna Choi made her own discovery. She had been studying the hegemony language day and night. The more she learned, the more she found hidden meanings in their communications. The hegemony ship sent constant messages to each other. Most were routine, but some were encoded. Yuna broke the encryption and found something shocking. Multiple species within the hegemony fleet were talking to each other in secret. They used old languages that the overlords didn't understand. They were coordinating something, planning something. Yuna sent her findings to Commander Taehyun Lee. He was suspicious at first. It could be a trap, he said. I don't think so, Yuna replied. These messages are too old, too hidden. I think there's a real resistance inside the hegemony. I think they're reaching out to us. Taehyun thought about this. If that's true, it changes everything. But we need more proof. That proof came from an unexpected source. Engineer Hyun Park was analyzing wreckage from the destroyed science ship. The aliens had fired on it with advanced weapons. Hyun wanted to understand those weapons. What he found surprised him. The weapons were powerful but poorly designed. They used too much energy. They overheated easily. They were effective but inefficient. This doesn't make sense, Hyun told his team. These aliens have been in space for thousands of years. They should have better technology than this. He studied more. The alien ships were the same. Fast but fragile. Strong but wasteful. It was like they had stopped improving their technology centuries ago. Hyun sent a report to General Kwan. The hegemony looks powerful, but there are weaknesses. Their technology is old. Their designs are rigid. They rely on numbers, not innovation. General Kwan read the report with growing interest. Maybe humanity had a chance after all. Pilot Sarah Han and her team crossed into hegemony space on the 12th day. Their ship was small and quiet. It moved like a shadow through the darkness. They found a supply convoy. Dozens of ships carrying fuel and weapons. But the convoy was strange. The ships didn't match. They looked like they came from different civilizations. Different designs. Different technologies. These are captured ships, Sarah realized. The hegemony doesn't build everything themselves. They steal from the species they conquer. Her team recorded everything. Ship types, weapons, defense patterns. Then they prepared to leave. That's when everything went wrong. One of the convoy ships detected them. Alarms screamed across hegemony channels. Fighters launched from nearby vessels. Go! Go, go! Sarah shouted. Her hands moved across the controls. The stealth ship accelerated hard. Alien fighters chased them. Weapons fire lit up the darkness. Sarah dodged and weaved. She was good, very good. But there were too many enemies. Then something unexpected happened. One of the convoy ships fired at the hegemony fighters. Not at the human ship. At their own allies, what the hell? Someone on Sarah's team said. More ships joined in. They attacked the hegemony forces. They created chaos. In the confusion, Sarah's ship escaped. As they raced back toward human space, Sarah received a short message on the same encrypted channel Minho had been using. You're welcome. The time is almost here. Back on the hegemony flagship, G1 felt the ship shake. Something was happening. Guards ran through the corridors. Alarms rang. High Prefect Vormalik appeared on the ship's internal screens. He looked angry. There has been an act of treason. Several ships have refused orders. They have been destroyed. Let this be a lesson. Disobedience means death. But Jiwan saw something else in his expression. Not just anger, fear. The hegemony was not as strong as it appeared. Cracks were forming. That night, another worker came to her room. A different alien this time, dull with purple skin. He spoke in broken English. Ambassador, we hope you survive. Tell your people. Not all in hegemony want war. Some of us want freedom. If humans fight, we fight too. Who are you? G1 asked. We are the forgotten, the conquered, the enslaved. But we remember freedom, and we will have it again. The alien left before G1 could ask more questions. But now she understood. The hegemony wasn't just humanity's enemy. It was the enemy of dozens of species, and those species were ready to rebel. The 30-day deadline approached. Earth sent a message to the hegemony flagship. They requested more time. They said they needed to prepare their answer. Vormalik refused. The time is over. Give me your answer now. Submit or die. G1 stood in the great chamber again. All eyes were on her. She thought about everything she had learned. The resistance. The weaknesses. The secret messages. The hope. She took a deep breath. High Prefect, humanity's answer is... Alarms exploded across the ship. Red lights flashed. Vormalik turned to a screen. His face showed shock. Report, he roared. Multiple ships breaking formation, an officer said. 17 vessels refusing commands. 23 more showing signs of mutiny. They're attacking our command ships. G1's heart raced. It was happening. The rebellion was starting. Vormalik spun toward her. What have you done? Nothing, G1 said honestly. But it seems your empire isn't as loyal as you thought. More reports came in. Ships fighting each other. Communications breaking down. The perfect hegemony fleet was tearing itself apart. In human space, Captain Minho Kim watched the chaos unfold. The mysterious contact sent one final message. The chains are breaking, but we need help. Will humanity stand with the oppressed? Or stand aside? Minho knew this was the moment. Everything depended on what happened next. He opened a channel to Earth Command. General Quan, I request permission to engage the hegemony fleet. Not to conquer. To free those who want freedom. There was a long pause. Then General Quan's voice came back. Permission granted. And Captain? Bring our ambassador home. Yes, ma'am. With pleasure. The human fleet powered up their engines. Weapons came online. This wasn't the war they expected. It wasn't humanity against aliens. It was freedom against tyranny. And humanity had just chosen its side. On the hegemony flagship, guards grabbed G1. Vormalik's voice was ice cold. Take her to the detention cells. She will watch as we destroy her people. But as they dragged her away, G1 smiled, because through the windows she could see human ships approaching. And behind them, dozens of rebel vessels were breaking free from hegemony control. The war had begun. Not the war the hegemony wanted, but the war they deserved. A war for freedom that would shake the galaxy itself. The battle lasted 3 hours. Captain Minho Kim led the human fleet straight into the chaos. The hegemony forces were confused. Some ships followed orders to attack. Others refused. A few fought against their own commanders. Minho focused on one goal. Get to the flagship. Rescue Ambassador Park. Get out alive. All ships form up on me, Minho ordered. Concentrate fire on their flagship defenses. We need to create an opening. Human weapons fired in coordinated patterns. The Indomitable's shields took heavy damage. 2 escort ships exploded. But they pushed forward. Then something wonderful happened. A group of alien ships moved to help them. They were rebels. freed slaves who had been forced to serve the hegemony. Now they fought back. "Captain, we're receiving a transmission," his communications officer said. "It's from one of the rebel ships. They're offering to cover our approach." "Accept their help," Minho said, "and thank them." The rebel ships fought with desperate courage. They knew they might not survive, but they fought anyway. For freedom, for revenge, for hope. Inside the flagship, Ambassador Jiwon Park sat in a cell. She could feel the ship shaking from weapon impacts. She knew a battle was happening. She hoped her people were winning. The cell door opened. Not guards this time, an alien she recognized. The one who had spoken to her before. The one who talked about freedom. "Come, Ambassador, quickly. Your people are here. We help you escape." Jiwon didn't hesitate. She followed the alien through corridors filled with smoke and noise. Other rebels joined them. Different species working together. They reached a docking bay. A human shuttle was there, surrounded by fighting. Hegemony guards tried to stop them. The rebels fought back. "Go, now!" the purple-skinned alien shouted. "We hold them." "Come with me," Jiwon shouted back. "No, we stay. We finish what we started. Go. Tell Galaxy what happened here. Tell them we chose freedom." Jiwon ran to the shuttle. As it launched, she looked back. The rebels were fighting, dying, but they were free. Finally free. The shuttle made it back to the Indomitable. Minho was there to meet her. "Welcome back, Ambassador." "Thank you, Captain. But we can't leave yet. There are people on that ship who helped me, who are fighting for freedom right now." "I know, but we're outnumbered 20-1. If we stay, we all die. Then we need to even the odds." Back on Earth, an emergency council meeting was happening. The rebellion was spreading across hegemony space. Dozens of worlds were rising up. But the uprising was not coordinated. The rebels were being crushed one by one. "We have to help them," General Quan said. "If we don't, they'll all die." Councillor Daeho Shin disagreed. He represented the inner colonies, the peaceful worlds. "This isn't our war. If we get involved, the hegemony will destroy us too." "It became our war the moment they appeared at our borders," General Quan replied. "We can submit and become slaves. Or we can fight. Fighting is suicide. Surrender is also death, just slower." The argument went on for hours. Earth was split. Some colonies wanted to help the rebels. Others wanted to negotiate. A few even suggested joining the hegemony voluntarily. Then something unexpected happened. Ships arrived in human space, battered, damaged, limping. They were rebel vessels seeking refuge. The lead ship sent a message. "Humans, we are Velshara. We speak for 7 conquered peoples. We seek alliance. Help us fight tyranny. Together we can win." Dr. Yuna Choi was called to make first contact. She boarded Velshara's ship with a team of diplomats. What she saw shocked her. The aliens were exhausted, wounded. Some were barely alive. But in their eyes she saw determination. They had escaped the hegemony. Now they wanted revenge. Velshara was tall and thin, with silver skin and 4 arms. She spoke through a translator device. "Humans, we watch you. You are new to Galaxy, young, but you have something we lost long ago." "What's that?" Yuna asked. "Hope. When hegemony came to our worlds, we surrendered. We thought we would survive. We were wrong. They took everything. Our freedom, our culture, our future, but you didn't surrender. You fought, and others see that. Others want to fight too. We're not soldiers," Yuna said honestly. "We're explorers, scientists. We never wanted war. Nobody wants war. But sometimes war comes anyway. Question is, do you stand and fight? Or do you kneel?" Yuna brought Velshara to Earth. The alien spoke to the council. She told them about life under hegemony rule. The slavery, the suffering, the hopelessness. "My people were scientists," Velshara said. "Peaceful, like you. We thought we could negotiate. We were wrong. Hegemony doesn't negotiate. They conquer. They enslave. They destroy everything that makes a species unique." She showed them records, images of conquered worlds. Species reduced to servitude, children taken from parents, cultures erased. It was horrible. "If you do nothing, this is your future," Velshara said. "But if you fight, maybe we all have a chance." The council took a vote. It was close, very close. But in the end, humanity chose to fight, not for conquest, not for glory. For freedom, the decision split humanity. 3 inner colonies refused to participate. They declared neutrality. It broke Counselor Deho Shin's heart, but he accepted it. "I hope you're right," he told General Quan. "I hope this doesn't destroy us all." "So do I," the general replied. Meanwhile, Commander Taehyun Lee received a message from the mysterious contact who had been helping them. This time the contact revealed his identity. "My name is Krenthos. I was once a scientist in hegemony. I worked on weapons. Terrible weapons. I saw what they did to conquered peoples. It broke me, so I started helping resistance. For 40 years I have worked in shadows. Now time for shadows is over." Krenthos provided detailed information about hegemony defenses, their command structure, their supply chains, most importantly their capital world. "Throne Prime," Krenthos explained. "Heart of hegemony empire. But heart is weak. They rely on fear, not actual strength. If we strike there, if we show hegemony can be hurt, entire empire will shake." Taehyun brought this information to General Quan. "It's insane," he said. "Attack their capital. We'd never make it." "Maybe," the general replied. "But maybe not. If Engineer Hyun is right, if their technology is outdated, if we have allies helping us, maybe we have a chance." A meeting was arranged. Human leaders, Velshara and her allies, Krenthos joined via secure transmission. They discussed the impossible plan. "It's suicide," Velshara said bluntly. "But I support it. We have already lost so much. Better to die fighting than live as slaves." Captain Minho Kim was chosen to lead the strike force. He stood before the assembled leaders and said, "I won't lie to you. Many of us won't come back, but if we succeed, we change everything. We show the galaxy that tyranny can be defeated." Ambassador Ji-won Park added, "I've seen what the hegemony does to people. I've seen the fear in the eyes of those they've conquered. But I've also seen hope. Hope that someone would finally stand up to them. That's what we represent now, hope." The plan was approved. Ships began gathering. Humans, Velshara's people, other rebels who heard about the mission and volunteered. It was a small fleet, maybe too small. But it was all they had. Engineer Hyun Park worked day and night upgrading the Allied ships. He installed human shields, better engines, more efficient weapons. It wasn't much, but every advantage helped. Pilot Sarah Han trained mixed crews, humans and aliens learning to fight together. It was hard. Different species had different ways of thinking, different tactics, but slowly they learned. On the day of departure, crowds gathered on Earth. Some people cheered. Others cried. Everyone knew this might be the last time they saw these ships. Minho stood on the bridge of the Indomitable. Around him, dozens of ships prepared to jump to hyperspace. Human ships, alien ships, all united by one goal. This is Captain Kim to all ships. Today we begin a journey that many thought impossible. We go to the heart of the enemy. We go to strike at tyranny itself. Some of us will not return, but those who do will carry a message to the galaxy. Freedom is worth fighting for, and together free peoples can defeat any tyrant. He paused, then added, "For freedom, for the fallen, for the future." Across all the ships, voices answered. Different languages, different species, but one message: for freedom. The fleet jumped to hyperspace. Behind them, Earth and its allies waited, hoped, prayed. Ahead of them, the hegemony capital waited. Throne Prime, heart of an empire built on suffering. Soon that heart would be tested like never before. And High Prefect Vormalik, secure in his power, had no idea what was coming. The journey to Throne Prime took 8 days. The fleet traveled through old hyperspace routes that Krenthos had provided. Routes that had been abandoned centuries ago. Routes the hegemony had forgotten. Along the way they passed through dead systems, ruins of ancient civilizations, worlds that had once been full of life. Now they were empty, silent. The hegemony had been here, and when the hegemony left, nothing survived. Captain Minho Kim stood on the bridge looking at the ruins of a city on a dead world below. "How many?" he asked quietly. "Sir?" His officer replied. "How many civilizations did they destroy?" "Records show at least 67 species. But there might be more. Species that were erased so completely no one remembers them." Minho clenched his fists. This had to stop. Someone had to stop it. On the 3rd day, something went wrong. One of the Allied ships started sending strange signals. Engineer Hyun Park noticed it first. "Captain, the vessel Red Dawn is transmitting on hegemony frequencies. I think they're sending our position." "A spy?" Minho felt his blood run cold. Yes, sir. They've been loyal to the hegemony all along. Minho made a hard decision. Target the Red Dawn. Fire. The traitor ship tried to run. It didn't make it. But the damage was done. The hegemony knew they were coming. Velshara contacted Minho. Her voice was sad. That ship was from my species. Some of my people still believe hegemony rule is better than freedom. They are wrong. But they are still my people. I'm sorry, Minho said. Don't be. You did what was necessary. Now we must be ready. They know we come. 2 days later, the hegemony was waiting. They set an ambush in a dead system. Dozens of warships appeared from behind a planet. All ships, evasive action. Minho shouted. The battle was terrible. The ambush hit hard. Several Allied ships exploded in the first seconds. The fleet scattered, trying to survive, but Minho had expected this. He had planned for betrayal. Group Alpha, execute Plan Delta. Group Beta with me. We break through the center. The human ships were smaller than the hegemony vessels, but they were faster, more agile, and their crews fought with determination that surprised the enemy. Pilot Sarahan led a squadron of fighters. She wove between enemy ships, targeting their engines and weapons. Her pilots followed her lead. They fought like they had nothing to lose. Because they didn't. This is for everyone you destroyed, Sarah shouted as she fired on a hegemony cruiser. Her missiles struck true. The cruiser's engines exploded. The Allied forces fought together. Humans provided tactics and innovation. Velshar's people knew hegemony weaknesses. Other species brought their own strengths. Together they were more than the sum of their parts. The battle lasted 6 hours. The Allied fleet lost a third of its ships. Good people died, but they broke through the ambush. They kept moving toward Throne Prime. After the battle, Minho received reports. 12 ships destroyed, thousands dead. He felt each loss like a weight on his soul. Ambassador Jiwon Park found him in his quarters. Captain, you did everything you could. It wasn't enough. Those people trusted me to lead them. Now they're dead. They're dead because the hegemony kills anyone who wants freedom, Jiwon said firmly. This isn't your fault. It's theirs. Minho knew she was right, but it didn't make the pain easier. They continued toward Throne Prime. The closer they got, the more enemy ships they saw. But something strange was happening. Some hegemony vessels weren't fighting. They just watched. What are they doing? Minho wondered. Krenthos answered via transmission. They're waiting, watching. Some crews are loyal to hegemony. Some are not. They wait to see if you succeed. If you reach Throne Prime, if you hurt the capital, some might join you. And if we fail, then they kill us all. On the 8th day, they arrived at Throne Prime. The planet was beautiful. Blue oceans, green continents, massive cities that sparkled like jewels. Around it, orbital stations and defense platforms created a web of protection. That's a lot of defenses, someone said quietly. Yes, Minho agreed. But look at how they're arranged. All facing outward. They expect attacks to come from outside the system, not from within. They had traveled through the old routes that brought them inside the defensive perimeter. The hegemony's greatest strength was also their greatest weakness. They were so confident, so arrogant, they never expected anyone to get this close. All ships attack formation, Minho ordered. Target the Grand Conclave Station. That's where their leadership meets. That's where we strike. The fleet charged forward. Alarms screamed across hegemony channels. Defense platforms tried to track them. But it was too late. The Allies were already inside. The battle for Throne Prime began. It was chaos. Beautiful, terrible chaos. Human ships dodged through debris. Velshara's forces attacked from multiple angles. Other Allied vessels provided covering fire. General Soyeon Kwan commanded the fleet from a command ship. She watched the battle unfold on tactical displays. Focus fire on those defense platforms. Clear a path to the station. Weapons blazed. Ships exploded. But slowly, impossibly, the Allies pushed forward. They were outnumbered, outgunned. But they had something the hegemony didn't. They had hope. They had courage. They had nothing left to lose. Dr. Yuna Choi worked communications. She broadcast messages on all channels. Messages in dozens of languages. Messages to the conquered peoples serving the hegemony. This is Dr. Yuna Choi of Earth. We fight for freedom. Join us, fight with us. Or just stop fighting, please. Freedom is possible. Freedom is real. Some ships responded. They stopped firing. A few even turned on their hegemony commanders. The rebellion was spreading. The Indomitable reached the Grand Conclave Station. Minho looked at it through the view screen. This was it, the heart of the Empire, where High Prefect Vormalik ruled. "Prepare boarding parties," Minho said. "I'm going in." "Sir, that's too dangerous," his first officer objected. "This whole mission is too dangerous." "But we're here. We might as well finish it." Minho led a team of Marines onto the station. They fought through corridors, past guards, past defenses. The station was massive, but Krenthos had provided maps. They reached the central chamber. High Prefect Vormalik stood there, surrounded by his officers. He looked at the humans with cold eyes. "So, the primitives reach our home. Impressive, but futile." Minho raised his weapon. "Surrender. Your empire is falling. Your people are rebelling. It's over." Vormalik laughed. "Over? No, I have one more weapon. A weapon that will end this rebellion forever." He gestured to a screen. It showed Earth. Beautiful blue Earth. "Behold, the planet killer. Right now it targets your homeworld. Surrender immediately or Earth dies. Every human dies. Your entire species ends today." Minho felt his blood turn to ice. A planet killer, aimed at Earth. If it fired, humanity was finished. Vormalik smiled. "You have 10 seconds to order your fleet to stand down. 10, 9, 8. Minho's mind raced. Everything they had done, everything they had sacrificed. All for nothing. He couldn't let Earth die, but he couldn't surrender either. 7, 6, 5. Minho opened his mouth to speak, to surrender, to save his people. Then a voice came from behind him. "Stop!" Krenthos stepped forward. He was old, tired, but his eyes were clear. In his hand he held a remote device. "Planet Killer will not fire, Vormalik," Krenthos said calmly. "I know because I helped build it, and I disabled it 3 years ago." Vormalik's face showed shock, then rage. "You? Traitor, You will do nothing," Krenthos interrupted. "Your weapon is broken. Your empire is dying, and now everyone knows. I'm broadcasting this across all channels. Everyone in Galaxy can see. The great High Prefect, the mighty hegemony, built on lies and threats." He pressed a button on his remote. Screens all over the station lit up, all over Throne Prime, all across hegemony space. Everyone saw Vormalik's face, saw his fear, saw his lies exposed. The effect was immediate. Across Throne Prime, people started rebelling. Conquered species who had lived in fear suddenly realized the fear was false. The hegemony was not all-powerful. They could be beaten. Vormalik's officers looked at each other. Some raised their weapons at Vormalik instead of at the humans. The empire was crumbling. Minho lowered his weapon. "It's over. Tell your forces to stand down." Vormalik fell to his knees. The great leader. The mighty conqueror. Defeated not by weapons but by truth, by courage, by people who refused to be slaves. Outside, the battle was ending. Hegemony forces were surrendering, or fleeing, or joining the rebels. The empire that had ruled for centuries was falling apart in hours. Minho transmitted to his fleet. "All ships cease fire. The battle is won. Repeat, the battle is won." Cheers erupted across the Allied fleet. They had done it. Against all odds. Against an empire. They had won, but Minho didn't celebrate. He looked at Krenthos. "Thank you. You saved us all." Krenthos smiled sadly. "No, you saved yourselves. You chose to fight. That choice inspired others. That's what defeats tyranny. Not weapons, choice. The war was not over. But the worst was past. Now came the hard part. Building something new from the ashes of empire." The first week after the battle was chaos. Throne Prime descended into confusion. Some hegemony forces tried to fight. Most surrendered. A few fled to distant parts of the empire, still loyal to the old ways. Captain Minho Kim kept High Prefect Vormalik alive. Many wanted him dead. But Minho made a different choice. He broadcast Vormalik's surrender across the galaxy. Let everyone see the tyrant on his knees. Let everyone see that monsters could fall. The effect was powerful. Across former hegemony space, people watched. They saw their oppressor defeated, and they realized they could be free. But freedom brought new problems. 43 conquered species suddenly had no government, no leadership. Centuries of oppression had destroyed their old ways. Now they had to rebuild. Some species wanted revenge. They hunted down hegemony officials. They destroyed anything connected to the empire. Ambassador Jiwon Park spent days trying to prevent massacres. "I understand your anger. she told a crowd of former slaves. But revenge only creates more suffering. We need justice, not more violence. It wasn't easy. Many didn't listen. But slowly some did. Jiwon worked tirelessly. She mediated disputes. She helped set up temporary governments. She reminded people that they were free to choose their own path now. Meanwhile, the Allied fleet had problems too. Different species had different ideas about what should happen next. Some wanted to go home. Others wanted to establish a new empire. A few wanted to destroy everything the hegemony had built. General Soyeon Kwan called a meeting of all Allied commanders. The meeting took place on a neutral station. Representatives from every species attended. We face a choice, General Kwan said. We can repeat history, create a new empire, rule others the way we were ruled. Or we can try something new. Belshara stood up. My people remember freedom. Before hegemony came, we were peaceful. We explored. We learned. Then they came and took everything. I do not want to become them, others agreed. But the question remained, what should they build instead? Ambassador Jiwon Park proposed an idea. What if we create something different? Not an empire, not a government, just an agreement. Each species keeps their freedom, their independence. But we promise to help each other, to defend each other, to work together when needed. A loose alliance, and someone said, yes, each species makes their own laws, lives their own way. But we stand together against tyranny. We trade, we share knowledge. We help each other grow. It was a radical idea. Throughout history, the strong had always ruled the weak. But maybe history could change. The debate lasted for weeks. Some species were afraid. Without central authority, wouldn't they just fight each other? What about protection? What about order? Dr. Yuna Choi helped translate. She listened to every concern, every fear, every hope. And slowly a consensus formed. They would try. They would create something called the Galactic Accord. Not a government, an agreement, a promise. To respect each other's freedom, to defend against tyranny, to help each other without controlling each other. It wasn't perfect. Many species refused to join. Some wanted isolation. Others wanted to form their own small empires. And that was okay. Freedom meant the freedom to choose. But 63 species did join. 63 different peoples all agreeing to try something new. The signing ceremony took place on a neutral world. Representatives gathered. Humans stood among them, not as leaders, not as conquerors, just as one voice among many. Krenthos was there too. He was old now. The stress of years of secret resistance had taken its toll. But he was alive and free, finally free. He spoke to the gathered representatives. I have seen terrible things. I helped create weapons that destroyed worlds. I lived in fear for 40 years. But I also learned something. Tyranny seems strong, but it is built on fear, and fear can be broken. One brave act, one person standing up. That's all it takes to start change. He looked at the humans. You were that brave act. You could have surrendered. You could have run. But you stood. You fought. Not for conquest, for freedom. And that inspired others. That's what changed everything. After the ceremony, the representatives went back to their worlds. They had much work to do. Rebuilding, healing, learning to be free again. Captain Minho Kim returned to Earth. He was a hero. People cheered him in the streets, but he didn't feel like a hero. He remembered all the people who died, all the ships that were destroyed. The cost of freedom had been high. He visited the memorial. Names carved into stone, thousands of names, human and alien, all who died fighting for freedom. Captain Kim. It was Counselor Daeho Shin, the man who had argued for surrender. I was wrong. I wanted to save lives by giving up. But I see now that some things are worth dying for. Many did die, Minho said quietly. Yes, but they died free. They chose to fight. That matters, Minho nodded. Maybe the counselor was right. Pilot Sarah Han didn't return to Earth. She stayed in space. She helped train new defenders. People from different species learning to protect their freedom together. She was good at it. Better than she expected. One day, a young alien pilot asked her, "How do we know we can win if another enemy comes?" Sarah smiled. "We don't, but we know we can fight. We know we can stand together. That's enough." Engineer Hyun Park became the director of technology exchange programs. He helped different species share knowledge. Human innovation, Alien experience. Together they created amazing things. He worked with aliens who had once been enemies. Some had even fought for the hegemony. But now they worked together, building, creating, moving forward. Dr. Yuna Choi founded the Galactic Linguistic Institute. She taught humans to speak alien languages and taught aliens about human culture. Understanding, she believed, was the foundation of peace. Commander Tai-hyun Lee stayed busy too. Some hegemony loyalists were still out there, hiding, planning, hoping to restore the old empire. He hunted them, not for revenge, but to protect the fragile new peace. Ambassador Ji-won Park became the first human representative to the Galactic Accord Council. She spent her days solving disputes, building bridges, helping different species understand each other. It wasn't easy. Different species had different values, different needs. Sometimes they argued. Sometimes they disagreed strongly. But they talked. They negotiated. They found compromises. That was the difference. Under the hegemony, disagreement meant death. Under the Accord, disagreement meant discussion. 5 years passed. The Galactic Accord grew stronger. More species joined. Trade flourished. Knowledge spread. It wasn't perfect. There were still conflicts, still problems, but it was better. Much better. On the 5th anniversary, a celebration was held. Representatives from all member species gathered. They built a monument, not to war, not to conquest, to freedom, to choice, to the courage to stand against tyranny. Krenthos was supposed to speak, but he had died peacefully 2 months earlier. Natural causes. He lived to see freedom. That was enough. Instead, Ambassador Park spoke. 5 years ago, we faced an impossible choice. Submit to tyranny or fight for freedom. We chose to fight, not because we were strong, but because we believed freedom was worth the risk. She paused, looking at the crowd. So many different faces, different species, all free. Krenthos once said that one brave act can change everything. He was right. But it's not just one act. It's choosing to be brave every day. Choosing to stand for freedom. Choosing to help others. That's what keeps tyranny from returning. The crowd was silent, listening, learning. The hegemony fell because one species refused to kneel, but it stayed fallen because 63 species chose to stand together. Remember that. Remember that freedom is not given. It's chosen. Every day. After the ceremony, Ji-won stood alone, looking at the stars. Captain Kim found her there. Thinking about the future? He asked. Always, she replied. We've built something good here, but it's fragile. One crisis, one war, it could all fall apart. Maybe, but we'll face it together. That's what we learned. Together we're stronger. Ji-won smiled. Yes, together. Far away on the edge of known space, sensors detected something. Strange signals, unidentified ships. A new threat approaching. The Galactic Accord received the report. They called an emergency meeting. Representatives gathered humans, Velshara's people. Dozens of other species, another challenge, General Kwan said. But we've faced challenges before. What do we do? Someone asked. Ambassador Park stood up. We do what we always do. We stand together. We face the unknown with courage, and we remember that freedom is always worth fighting for. Across the galaxy, fleets prepared, not to conquer, not to destroy, to defend, to protect the freedom they had won. And on Earth, Captain Min-ho Kim looked at the memorial one last time. All those names, all those heroes. They had given everything for this moment. For this chance, he whispered a promise. We won't waste it. We'll protect what you died for. We'll keep the galaxy free. The future was uncertain. New threats would come. New challenges would arise. But the free peoples of the galaxy would face them together. Because that's what humanity had taught them. That's what the rebellion had proven. That together the free could defeat any tyrant. That courage, hope, and determination were stronger than fear. The hegemony had ruled for 1,000 years. It fell in days. Because one species chose to fight. Because others chose to follow. Because freedom once tasted can never be truly taken away.